still in the
same course. They feel like their tuition is going to waste.
I feel like this should have been done earlier. I think now, assuming that some companies are going to lay off some workers because if your course is expired, how do you expect? I've been giving an example of people that did population studies. They're out there. They have nothing because you go up looking for adverts for advertisement for jobs, and you can't find a placement for your course. You definitely have to do other alternatives. It's quite challenging, actually.
And well, besides that, still with the new vision, President and First Lady have launched Uganda's joint bid to host the African Cup of Nations. President Museveni did say that by the look of things here, it is something that you should be expecting to boost not only the footballing activations within the country, but also to look at it as an opportunity, rather, that will be able to promote the tourism industry within Uganda and East Africa.
Anyway, yesterday we talked about mental health, and the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament said mental health, actually advocates for for checkups for all people, regarding the gun violence that has been taking place. I mean, this is why I think she took an initiative to advise people to go for mental checkup. It's actually necessary. You have to know how you're standing mentally. People are actually, I shouldn't say mad, but have some problems mentally.
Well, and also now with the new vision here, the transport sector has been given 4 trillion Ugandan shillings, according to the budget for 2023-2024. That breakdown, as the new vision is giving you more details coming in from there, as the government also slashes 120 billion shillings for agriculture extension works. New vision, furthermore, is giving you those details here this morning, if you are to look at it from the business perspective side of it.
In the Daily Monitor, we see MPs query 37 billion shillings allocation to Rabogo-led committee. Now, the government is under the spotlight for allocating 37 billion shillings to the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, an agency headed by the President's son-in-law. This is a major concern when it comes to I don't know what this is for, but it continues to say that Mr. Odrek Rawogo is supposed to spend this money on coffee value chain, export and industrial development promotion. But the manner of the allocation raised suspicions in Parliament last week.
Wow.
This is a huge sum of money.
Yeah, it's a huge one. And I think it's simply because we are now heading into the next financial year. The budget is yet to be presented, and so members of Parliament are revisiting and looking at how money allocations may be used or how they've been misused in the same. And also lastly, from the new vision here, is that the Energy Ministry is on spot over 500 billion shillings relating to the rural electrification of agency, whereby they've actually been able to roll out, or they've actually been able to push in for the rural electrification process in order to see that everybody gets power, even those up country.
That's it. But there is a problem actually when it comes to connection. There is a huge amount of money that is required, and I mean villagers cannot afford that money. So there are still the poles are in there, but they can't definitely have their electricity connected.
Well, we shall see that, but of course there's a very huge problem here of 500 billion shillings that they have to look through and get in touch with in order to at least give answers as to how the 500 billion was used in 2021, and it was meant to be for the rural electrification agency. But well, besides that, we now focus our eyes on the traffic updates this morning. Andrew Berige is on ground to at least give us more details and to observe the atmosphere of the traffic flow this morning for us as we kickstart off the business day. It's a hunting one, obviously, and of course, how do you kickstart off your hunting day is by looking through deeply and understanding which route is safer and more convenient for you to use as things stand by the look of all these details. Barija Andrew is giving us those and more of what you should be expecting according to what is coming in from Wandegea.
As most of the routes seem to be quite fine. I mean, the entirety of all points in town this morning, actually even yesterday, even the last week, it's been a little bit very calm during the morning hours. Well, we cannot explain what is really leading to this, but sometimes there are those seasons when the jam, when the days you expect the jam, it doesn't really surface as you can really anticipate. Take a good example here. Now, if I may to start all the way from up there, that is the Makerere Road, and you get to observe how the atmosphere is like. Well, it's a little bit calm as compared to some of the usual days when the entire road is very thick, full of vehicles. Remember, there are quite lots of traffic lights along that route, and that explains why some days it's a little congested. But today, the mighty road, which is always congested, you can take a look up there for yourself. It's a little bit very calm. So if you're coming in from areas like you're coming in from Kasubi, you're coming in from Waise, and most probably you're going to pass via this route, probably to head to any destination in town, according to the look of things, it's very okay, and you will be able to reach in the appropriate time. You're using the Sir Apollo route, probably you stay along the areas along Sir Apollo Road. And yes, you're coming towards Wandegea, you're heading towards probably Mulago, but you're going to pass via this junction, the Wandegea traffic lights. It's very favorable for you, and I guarantee you that you will not be delayed as much, according to the look of things. Yes, so that is the lane out. It's very free as compared to some of the other roads. Now, this morning, the most busy road, probably according to my look of things, is the Bombo Road, which seems to be a little bit heavily congested ever since we came here. Of course, a number of vehicles have been set free to go, but it seems to be quite thick. So for the people that are coming in from Bwaise and Kalere, and you're probably going to use this route, the Bombo Road, and you're coming towards town, well, you might be delayed a little bit. I think among all the routes that are connecting to the Wandegea traffic lights here, the Bombo route is the only one that is quite very tricky and quite a little congested this morning. And it might give you a little bit of a hard time if you're coming to execute business in town when it comes to timeliness, keeping the right time that you ought to keep. Yes, and even fuel, matters of saving fuel, you might be delayed in there, and if you keep the engine on, well, you will consume quite lots of the fuel. So you need to be economical in that aspect as you're coming towards those areas. Of course, majority of the vehicles here, I can see they are both public and private vehicles coming in from those areas, but of course, majorly dominated by the private. Yes, and a few taxis around there making, of course, heads towards town. Not so many borders here, according to the look of things. Very, very few. Well, probably let's wait as the children, the students resume school. Probably that's when we might anticipate to seeing quite a very thick atmosphere of jam here, according to the look of things. Now, of course, taking a look at the route that is heading towards Mulago, towards Kamoch, of course, heading to the Mulago roundabout. According to the look of things, well, it's very free, and if you're coming in from areas like Mulago, but maybe the only disadvantage that you will encounter is that the Mulago roundabout is a little mildly congested, and most especially if you're coming around those areas and you're trying to connect towards town, you might be delayed a little bit. But according to the look of things, if you're coming in from areas like Kamocha and you're going to pass via that roundabout, well, it might be much more easier for you as compared to somebody that is coming from Mulago. So that is the look of things. So if you're coming from Mulago, you could probably try to seek out some best alternatives within around there. But connecting to the Mulago roundabout coming here, you might be very challenged. Apart from those that are coming in from Kamocha, that really seem to be on an advantage there. But however, if you're coming in from there and you're heading towards town, city center to execute business, it's very okay for you, and I guarantee you that you will be able to reach in the appropriate time and design time for you to execute your business here. All right, now as we switch our eyes away from there, let's stick towards Kampala Road. Of course, the vehicles coming in from the Mulago area, coming in from the Kamocha area, linking to Mulago roundabout, and they're heading towards town. Kampala Road is very, very free for the people that are coming in from these areas. You're coming in from Wandegea, you're heading towards Kampala. Well, it's quite a free lane for you. Of course, just a slight sort of a misunderstanding out there ahead, of course, which might cause a little congestion amongst the taxis, because according to my observation, some of these taxis offload off passengers and load passengers as you're heading towards the YMCA route there. Yes, around there, majority drop people there and they load other people there, and maybe that could be cause a slight congestion. But according to the look of things, it's a free lane for you. And if you're coming in still from Kampala and you're heading towards Mulago, you're heading towards Wandegea, the only disadvantage you will encounter is the Mulago area. But as far as Wandegea here is concerned, if you're heading towards Makerere Road and you're coming in from town, well, I can guarantee you that it's a success and it's a right bet for you to come and execute that business. You will be able to actually reach in the required time and execute the business that how you ought to execute it. Now, as I'm summing this up, according to the overall observation here, it's not really so much congested except for the Bombo route, which seems to be a little bit crowded with a number of vehicles. But of course, that can be understandable because the areas along which that route passes through.
And well, of course, that is Andrew Berige, who is at the Wandegea traffic lights. That one there is one of the busiest routes when you look at people coming in from Kamocha, Bwaise, there are people actually coming in from Gayaza Road, those who are actually heading to the Hoima Road. So it's quite an atmosphere that becomes very busy such times and late in the evening. Well, you can choose wisely which route you would use if you're to start off your day or if you're to start tracking down your movements this morning. Well, I return with Masika Tsime to give you details regarding Karibu East Africa and information from the SMB International News. Stick around with us. Good morning.